it's Em. Do I even need to explain the insane hair lately? I will, whether I need to or not. I started Taekwondo a few months ago, and I have to wear a headband now when I do Taekwondo, and I hate headbands, so I'm trying to grow my hair back out just long enough to pull back for a Taekwondo class. So I'm in that weird growing out stage right now, and I hate it, but what can you do? Anyway, that's not why you're here. You're here for yet another video. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you so much to all my new subscribers. I'm super excited to have you joining us here on the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, we're trying to get to 100 just by the end of the year. I'm at 69. Anybody want to get me over the hump? Hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Anyway, it's March. It's mid-March, and I have not finished a single book yet this month. I'm reading 2 right now, and I'm kind of going between them, and I can't seem to get either one of them finished. Part of that is my son's track season has started, so I'm just really busy with things like that, school stuff because I'm on a number of committees, just those kinds of things going on. I've got a screenwriting project that I was hired to do. I've got my own writing to do, and actually that's the topic of today's video. I wanted to introduce some of the books I've written, since I don't have any books that I've read that I can talk about right now. So here we go. Books by M. Pepper Longlinay and also Amanda Innes. But before that, I've mentioned before, okay, so I got started writing fan fiction, which I wrote under the name A.C. Longlinay, and there's like a Wikipedia page about one of those, anyway, if I remember, I'll link it down below. You can read about what was my undergraduate thesis, which was actually a spec script for the X-Files that also got written into a fanzine called Texas Revelations. And then my first published works came out in, I was published in some, how do I say this? So, I mean, the fan stuff was published. It was published in zines, but, I don't know, original work, I guess. I had some stuff published in graduate student, booklet journal thing, and that was in 2001, and I had a short story and some poems published in 2004 in various journals. I have a writing resume on my website. If you go to my main page, mpepperlonglinay.com, and you scroll down to About Me, there's a link to my writing resume, and you can see the long list of publications there that I have. And also, if you're interested in my screenwriting, on the main page there's a screenwriting icon at the top, and you can actually look at my screenwriting credits as well. But I was gonna kind of skim over that stuff. I will say in 2012, so in 2012 I put out the first of my self-published work, which were my Sherlock Holmes stories. Well, the first of my Sherlock Holmes stories, The Mystery of the Last Line, which was actually a story that I had written as a grad school entrance piece. And that and the other Sherlock Holmes stories I've written are not available in print anywhere, but there is an audio version. So if you ever want to hear those stories, you can go get those off Audible, and you can listen to the Sherlock Holmes stuff that started really, that I really considered the start of my career. Also in 2012, I put out what was called St. Peter in Chains, which was the first of what became 3 parts of what would eventually become The Fall and Rise of Peter Stoller. So that's getting a little bit ahead though, because in 2013 I put out my first full-length novel, and that was The K-Pro. This is the new cover. This re-release was in 2020. So this book, somebody just once described it as Neil Gaiman for girls, but I think Neil Gaiman is Neil Gaiman for girls because girls like to read Neil Gaiman. I think I do, but it's set on a movie set. It's drawn from some of my movie set experience, but I've added a fantastical element of some Greek and Roman gods. And and when I was re-editing it, I was like, oh, this is better than I remember. But it definitely, I feel like, as many authors do, I feel like you can definitely see that my abilities have gotten better as I've gone on. You master a trade, and I don't think you're ever going to be perfect, but you get better as you go. The more you write, the better you write. So then, after the K-Pro, I was also writing more of the Peter Stoller stuff, and I started sending that out, and I got so close with a few agents, but because I had self-published the first part, the St. Peter in Chains, it turned out, I didn't know this at the time, but it turned out that really kind of diminished my chances of getting picked up for traditional pub. But I got some really great encouragement from, just a lot of cool people. And in 2016, The Fall and Rise of Peter Stoller was picked up for publication by Tyrger in Ireland. They didn't do a print version, though. They only did digital. And I eventually got the rights back and put out a print version because I do think this is a 1960s, espionage, upmarket espionage. Think John le Carré, Graham Greene. But the main protagonist is gay. I did a screenplay version that actually won an award and got a table read at Sundance, which was really, really cool. I actually have audio file of that table read and a signed script from all my actors at that table read. It was so cool. We've come very close to getting that film made a couple of times too, but unfortunately it's never been put into production. So hopefully someday, this is, of all the things that I've written, I think this is the one that would be easiest to adapt to one of those, miniseries like The Night Manager or whatever. I think that would be awesome. And to be honest, even though I do have a screenwriting background, I do think probably somebody else should write the script for this because I'm a little too close to the material. I did write a script. Like I said, the script for St. Peter in Chains won an award, but I think for the whole book, it should probably be someone else. Also in 2016, Evernight Teen put out my Manifesting Destiny, which was supposed to be the first in a trilogy. I got about halfway through the second book, and the publisher wasn't really asking for more, and I kind of got stuck, and so eventually I also got the rights back to this, so you can't find this anymore. It's not currently available, except I'm sure some secondhand markets have it. I intend to re-edit this and finish the trilogy and then put it out, but it's not high on my list, so if you've been waiting for Changers, let me know. Maybe I should reprioritize it, but this is a YA novel about a seemingly utopian future society that's actually a bit dystopian, and the main character, C-E-E, she has a dragon inside her, and dragons are supposedly extinct, and there's a ruling class of magi that want to eliminate any dragons that might crop up, and therefore C is in danger, and it goes from there. What I ended up doing instead of finishing Changers 2, I wrote a historical romance called Brindy, and this has been my bestseller. the Sherlock Holmes stuff was my bestseller for a long time, but then Brindy came out and got really good reviews in like Publishers Weekly, and I was really, really grateful for that, and this became my best-selling book. And it's a very straightforward, classic Regency romance novel. I used to read the old Zebra Regencies and, Harlequin Regencies and Signet Regencies when I was a kid, and I loved them, and they get harder and harder to find, so I wrote one. And then after writing that one, I wrote this one, Fayburn. Now, Fayburn, people who liked Brindy might not get completely on board with Fayburn because this has some fantastical elements, like some fantasy elements, and also one of the relationships in this book, in fact, what I think probably became the central relationship, it's definitely the most fun relationship in this book, is a male-male romance. And so people who like clean, classic Regency romances, they pushed back a little on this one because they weren't here for the gay. But I really liked that relationship. I thought that Davies and George are a lot of fun. They were fun to write. And yeah. And then finally, I re-released in 2020, I re-released the K-Pro and Fall and Rise of Peter Stoller. And then finally last year, I put out The Ghosts of Marshally Park, which is a YA. I decided that I was going to do my YA under a different name, so to kind of separate them a little bit. But this is about a 16-year-old girl named Jade who ends up murdered, and her body's left on the grave of a Victorian boy named Julian. And so his ghost is a bit put out by having this dead girl, like, on his grave. And in order to get rid of her, he agrees to help her solve her murder. And it goes from there. So those are the books I've written. I've actually written a lot more than that. I've got some anthologies, some plays. I have a book of plays, by the way. If you go to my Amazon, it's only available as an ebook. But those plays, some have been produced and even made into short films. But those are free for community theaters and schools to produce as long as they send me a note, as long as they credit me and send me a note saying they're doing it. And if I could see pictures or posters or programs or something, that always makes me really happy. So if you happen to be somebody looking for material for, a school, there's a number of short plays in there. There's one longer play called 20 August, which was also a screenplay that, again, has been optioned by indie filmmakers a number of times, but just never made. I think it's hard to find money to make it look like somebody fell off a bridge on an indie budget, but it's done really well. It's gotten some really nice feedback. So if you happen to be an indie filmmaker looking for a script, that one is available. But the play version, again, for community theaters and schools is available to use free of charge. Just give me the credit, send me some photos or some swag or something, and I'm happy. I'm happy to give you my work. So those are things. Again, you can find all my stuff on my website, on my Amazon. Although if you're buying paperbacks, I do usually promote the indie bound, try and buy it at your local indie store if you have one. Because I love indie bookstores. They're fun and necessary. And that is it. And hopefully by the end of the month, I will have gotten something read that I can talk about. I've got, at least one of these 2 books. Oh man, March is not going to be a good reading month for me. Oh, I was doing so well. Okay, anyway, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. in the comments. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share, read a book, one of mine. If none of those sound interesting to you, somebody else's, I don't know. And I will see you hopefully soon. Take care.